First, we're going to talk about what is an amphitheater. Now, an amphitheater was the Roman building that was used for gladiator fights and other forms of entertainment. So it's most famous for staging the gladiator fights inside of it, but as we'll see, what we think of as just gladiator fights was actually a whole day of various types of entertainment. Now, the word amphitheater literally means a round theater because it looks like two theaters kind of smashed together to make one amphitheater. So in the pictures that we have on the right-hand side of your screen here, the upper picture is a Roman theater and the bottom picture is a Roman amphitheater. So we can see that if you take two of the theaters and you put them kind of back to back, it makes something that looks like an amphitheater. So that's why they get the name amphitheater. Now, either way, in these pictures, all the action happens on the arena floor. So on the bottom picture, that oval center, or on the top picture, the kind of half circle that you can barely see at the center. That's where everything would go on in a theater or in an amphitheater. Now, actually, fun fact, a lot of Greek cities did not have separate amphitheaters. So if they were going to stage gladiator battles, they would just do them in the theater. So you would get really up close and personal to the gladiators. Think Splash Zone, but not in a good way. Now, the most famous amphitheater was, of course, the Colosseum, which was completed in 80 AD. Now, the Colosseum is named the Colosseum because it stands on the site of a colossus, which is a giant golden statue of the Emperor Nero. But it's taken down, and the land is instead used, that land, among other land, is used to build the Colosseum. Now, the Colosseum was the largest amphitheater around, and it seated somewhere between 87 and 100,000 people. Now, these are people like actually crammed together in the Colosseum. The Romans did not have a good perception of personal space, so literally seated next to each other. And keep in mind that they were smaller. So now, if we tried to fill the Colosseum, it would probably fit more like 50,000 people, because we don't like to be that squished. But the Colosseum was used for many, many years after it was built, but there were actually amphitheaters before the Colosseum was built in Rome. There might have been some smaller amphitheaters built, but even more importantly, when they wanted to stage gladiator battles, they would usually just set up wooden stands in the Roman Forum. So you can think the Roman Forum got an awful lot of use and would get a little bloody while they were staging the gladiator battles. Now, initially, the gladiator fights were put on as part of funeral celebrations. So we'll talk about that a little bit more later, and we'll talk about the seating arrangement in the amphitheater a little bit more on the next slide.